now
just
we're
recording
going, everything is recording everything right now, you guys. Like, cool. Happy Tuesday, everybody. What's new is Kim can't work technology again. I am here with Peter Guth. Hopefully he can keep me in line tonight. We'll see. It's a full-time job, man. Ask anybody that knows me. We got 14 things recording that we don't know about. My phone's voice texting to somebody, and I didn't tell it to. It's just never a dull moment on Tabletop Rebellion. But we are here tonight to hang out with Peter, learn a little bit about him, and find out about this awesome Kickstarter that he currently has. So you should be able to find the details down in the description. If you're on our Facebook page, it's on there. I'll make sure that it's in the comments of this video today as well, so everybody can find it super easy. But Peter, so welcome. Hi. What's new with you?
Good to be here. Nothing much other than, we got this Kickstarter going for Word Swap.
That's awesome.
So that's the new thing with me, and we're funded and moving along. It's we're kind of in the mid-campaign slump right now, so it's a little bit kind of just kind of things are kind of going along, but so far it's been good.
Awesome.
So,
well, you guys funded really quick, right? You funded within 48 hours?
Yeah, I mean, granted,
exciting.
It is. It's very exciting. And I mean, I had a relatively low funding goal because I was like, well, it's my first game. I'm like, I don't want to set too many unrealistic expectations here. So yeah, I mean, it wasn't too far fetched, but it was nice to get funded so quickly. So
that's exciting. Well, that takes, you're like, then you can go, okay, we can bring, like, we know we're going to the next step. It's not that like,
exactly.
Now it's just what stretch goals can we unlock or whatever. And then where do we go?
Exactly. Yes.
So, we'll get to, so we'll take a step back a little bit. So, how long, where did the idea for Word, well, let's first, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about what Word Swap is, and then we'll talk about where did the idea come from and stuff like that.
Sure. Yeah. So, Word Swap is a word game, card game. What's different about it, so the goal of the game is to earn points. You earn points by spelling words. Nice. But the catch of the game is that you have to match color. So you can't just spell words mindlessly. You have to kind of be mindful about like, okay, like I need to make sure that I want to try and get blue colors in this word, and if
cool.
Like, let's say I need a W, but it's like I need I could use a different color if I wanted to, but they're not going to contribute to my score if I don't use that same color. So there's kind of a little bit of just choice there, and kind of like, do I need to clear this word out and just score it for a little bit lower, for a little bit less points, so I can start another word, because you only have so many you can be spelling at one time. Anyway, so the general gist of the game is, spell words, match color. You can basically trade with other players to get words or cards you need.
Nice.
You can also discard cards. You can you draw at the end of your turn. So there's just kind of a general turn-by-turn kind of structure, and then there's you can trade, and it's just try and spell words and match color, earn points. There's kind of, I mean, we can get into some of the minutiae. I'm not sure how much detail you wanted me to get into.
As much as you want to share with the
world. So I guess there's like bonuses you can earn. So like certain letters will have symbols on them. I actually can show you.
Yeah, feel free.
Yeah. So a few of these, like here's a B and a V actually, that both have this little symbol on the top left, and that indicates a wild card. So if you spell a word with this letter, for each letter that you have that has that symbol, you get to draw a wild card to use in a future word.
That's helpful.
Yeah, and then so then some letters that are even rarer, like the Q's and the X's, have diamonds on them, and those will just straight up give you bonus points if you use them. So those are kind of like the buffs you can earn, and then there's also goal cards that we added, which are basically just categories. So if you spell a word that falls into a certain category, then you can claim a goal card that's face up in the center of the table. So let's say, like, I have one here that's just a color. So if you were to spell blue, yellow, red, whatever, you can claim this card and it would be worth 2 points. So it kind of adds, that adds a little bit of, it adds a little bit of an interesting element, because it allows you to kind of give some flexibility with spelling some proper nouns, but kind of still confines it, so it's not too open-ended, and then it also kind of adds some interaction too, because those are shared goals. Those are like face up in the center of the table.
Okay.
And whoever's the first one to claim that takes that. And then so if someone else was going for it, then you mess them up, you know.
Cool.
So,
I always like that.
Yeah. So there's kind of a little
extra action
Yeah.
that it's like I'm racing. I'm trying to beat you, and I'm trying to race you to that goal card.
Yeah.
We're a little competitive.
And
here
that's an interesting. Yeah. No. Well, I mean, it kind of adds. It's. It was actually interesting because when I was designing the game, that was actually a late design change. Like initially, that was not in the plans, and that was kind of we were designing the game, and someone had the idea to one of the playtesters I was playing with had the idea to add something like that, and so we tried it, and it worked really well. So
I like that idea.
Yeah,
that's very clever.
Yeah, so it's a word game. It's color matching. There's trading, interaction. Yeah, strategy.
There's a lot going on there.
Yeah, it is.
No, that's good. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Like it's not, like there's a lot more to it. It's not just a word game. There's a lot more, like you're saying, there's a lot more strategy to this than just making words.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the general overview.
Very cool. Now, yeah. I'll be the first to admit that I'm fine in normal run of the day life of words. And if you put a word game in front of me, I remember cat, dog, boat. Like it's terrible. Like I've now forgotten. I have no grasp of the English language anymore when you put a word game in front of me, and I don't know why that is. So these are extra challenging for me because I have to go. Where did all my brain go? On top.
Well, the good news is if you spell dog, you can claim the animal one and get 2 points. There you
See,
go.
that's my kind of game. So now, where did the idea for this initially come from? How long you've been working on it, and that all that goodness.
Yeah, so it's actually surprising how fast this came together. Like once I had the idea, it kind of it really just took off, and I spent pretty much any waking hour that I wasn't working just working on this game. So I actually had the idea like last October, November. So it's been actually less than a year from conception to Kickstarter. Yes. So the idea came from Bonanza. I don't know if you've played Bonanza.
I do know. Yeah.
Okay. So Bonanza is one of my, I would say, like, I'm trying to think of how I would put this. Like, it's not necessarily, like, if I were to make a list of games that I loved, it may not be on that list. But if I were to, like, only have 10 games, like, in a collection, Bonanza would probably be in that collection. I just love, I love what the game does. Like it kind of has this. It's relatively simple to learn. It's funny. It causes laughter. There's a ton of interaction, but there's a lot of strategy as well. Like it's got this nice blend of like easy to learn, hard to master, strategic choice. Anyway, whatever. I just love that game, and I haven't really encountered any game that has kind of replicated the feeling that game gives me of kind of like the tension with the choices you're trading. Again, like it's definitely not the most complex game, but a game that kind of blends the simplicity with the complex, I guess, really well. And so this is actually where the idea came from. I was kind of like thinking of, is there a way to take some of these concepts in Bonanza and apply them to something else? And then a word game kind of came to mind. So I basically, I just took the idea of a word game, and I took Bonanza and I kind of like created, something out of that. And I mean, if you played it now, you would see the resemblance, but it definitely is not. Like it's it's its own game now. But a couple of the big like similarities are like in Bonanza, you can be working on 2 different fields at one time. So in Word Swap, you can be working on 2 different words at one time. So that's one thing like that. Another thing is that the points are represented by the cards themselves. So like when you like clear a word out, you like turn cards upside down to represent your score. Also the trading, obviously. And then another big thing that's similar too is the play action. So like when it comes around to your turn, the first thing you have to do is play a certain card or certain cards out of your hand. And so that's similar to Bonanza. So in Bonanza, like you when it comes around to your turn, you have to play the first bean on the right side of your hand. And so I was kind of like, there's a really interesting element because it strategy to it, because it's like, okay, like it's come around to my turn. I'm going to have to play these. I need to figure out if I should discard these on the previous turn or if I need to trade them away. And so in Word Swap, the way that kind of adapted and I changed that is when it comes around to your turn, you can play you pick any color you want, as long as at least one of the cards in your hand is showing that color, and you have to play every single card that shows that color. So if you have like only one red card and you're like, I just want to play red, I'll just do that.
Yeah.
But if you have like a ton that are showing yellow and you're like, I really want to play these 3, but there's like 2 over here that I don't want to play, then that kind of adds some tension of like, okay, well, do I play this? And maybe I have to, I don't know. There's lots of different ways to kind of manipulate words in front of you or whatnot, but just dictates strategy, and it kind of, I wanted to kind of create a similar kind of level of tension that Bonanza does in that regard.
Yeah, no, that sounds great. I like that level, that extra tension in a game where and then it's back to you and you're like, I don't know what to do. Like, there's part of me that likes that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, it's one of those things where you realize after the fact, like, oh, like if I had known that, I should have made this choice. And then after you play it a few times, you realize, oh, okay, like I need to just start planning ahead better. And so there's that extra element of strategy anyway. But yeah.
That's pretty cool. That's awesome, though. I mean, it's been, like you said, less than a year for you. So you have definitely been working on this every breaking.
Yes. Yeah. It's that's just how I've operated, I guess, since I've been alive, to be honest. Like I just get passionate about certain things. That's and I just kind of go crazy, you know.
Yeah.
So
nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. So but I mean, like just pretty much constantly play testing, constantly trying new things out, changing stuff up, you know, honing it in, whatnot. But
well, I mean, funding in 48 hours tells you that, you know, other people are definitely seeing the potential in this game too. Yeah. A lot of, I definitely I've had a lot of friends and family who have been very supportive, which were a big part of that funding as well. Like nice. Definitely a lot of friends I've played with that are really into it and wanted to buy it, or just friends that have seen it and also just wanted to support it, and and then lots of obviously other people too that have seen it and like I said, so. I know a lot of people love word games. I just know that I'm terrible at them. That does not mean that I don't enjoy them. Yeah. I just go into it going, you are probably not going to win this, but you're gonna and this one sounds like it's still gonna be a ton of fun to do, and to me that's the making of a really great game. Like, I don't care whether or not I win, but it sounds like this is a lot of fun around the table.
Yeah. Well, and one thing I will say too, and this is not necessarily, I'm not this is not just because you said that, but one of the kind of design goals when I was designing this is like trying to make it so there's kind of multiple strategies to win, of like, a lot of word games are like, if you're good at spelling words and you love spelling long, complex words, you will win all the time.
Yep.
And in this game, like with the color element and the category element added to it, like it definitely makes it so that, like, I mean, I've seen people play this game who are just spelling, like you said, dog, 3-letter, 4-letter words the whole time, and getting the same amount of points, if not more, than people that are like spending the entire game trying to spell like saxophone or whatever.
That's awesome.
You know, so I mean, I don't, just to be honest, like I don't know, like obviously you don't like word games, and that's obviously, you know, something you don't like doing. But like, for example, like one of the things I said in the previous interview too is like my parents, for example, like my mom loves word games. My dad's not too fond of them, but it'd be cool to make a game where it's like, oh, hey, like I'll play that game because I'm not always losing, sort of thing. You know,
exactly.
So if you have friends or family who like word games, you're like, okay, I don't mind to play this one. So Scrabble doesn't get pulled out here a lot. Like that's an unfair advantage. My husband's super good at crazy long words. It's not a good one. But this totally sounds like one. I'm like, no, okay, I feel like I have a shot in this because there's a lot more happening than just spelling complicated words. I love that. Yeah, I was definitely tried to do that, and I think we generally succeeded. So
yeah, I would agree. Like, it totally sees that way. So now what? We're gonna go further back into Peter's past here. What got you into gaming? I'm gonna take you completely off of your current game. What got you into the hobby?
No, that's good.
Inquiring minds want to know.
So I started out probably like anyone else, just playing like the stuff that was just mainstream, Monopoly, like you said, Scrabble, Clue, Chutes and Ladders, all the random stuff. And because there was not really any that stood out, a lot of them are just rolling moves, or just the luck determines who wins pretty much half the time. It's kind of like nothing really stands out as being anything like, oh, okay, like I want to play this. Yeah, like it's just kind of like, yeah, whatever. But so the first game that I'm assuming for most people, one of the first games I played that opened my eyes up to a lot of this was Catan. And then
totally.
That was in college. And then I started playing a few others. Like I had a buddy who had Epic Duels, which was awesome. Star Wars game.
Oh yeah, we have a copy of that upstairs. we still
have.
Yeah,
no, it's a good one.
And yeah, it's hard to find now. Although I heard they're going to reprint it, but.
Well, what they're doing is they just created Unmatched, which is like the whatever it is, like recreation or restoration game. So that makes sense. But anyway, it's a different game, but I didn't know they were actually planning on reprinting the real game.
I've heard it's things that I see pop up like in the groups, like because there for a while, because that game was selling kind of high, and we toyed with the idea, and we're like, nah, it's just too nostalgic. We don't want to let it go. But then there was talk on, well, they're going to reprint it, but it was still kind of like, well, it's not going to be the same. So I'm not sure that there's going to be, whether or not there's going to be a reprint exactly like, or at least similar to that original game, unless it's something like, I'll be curious to see it. I'm still going to keep the copy that we've got, but. Yeah.
I mean, it's a good game. Like obviously, like some of the artwork's outdated, and anyway, stuff like that. But yeah, it was fun. And then I had another friend who had one of the master sets for Heroescape, and we started playing that. Obsessed, and like I bought a set. I'd put some friends buy a set. We had like massive maps we would build like on the weekends, and so I started getting into all that stuff. And then some of the other gateway games, like Ticket to Ride, Carcassonne, I started like playing, and just was like, so yeah. My collection started to just kind of like grow, so it just kind of probably similar to a lot of people, where I just had one or two experiences where I was like, oh, this is so cool, and then started.
And then next thing you know,
how much potential.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Ours kind of snowballed. Like we did real good there for a while with with Carcassonne and Ticket to Ride and a few other little Kill Dr. Lucky's another one that we always really liked. And it stayed pretty level for a while, and then I don't know what tipped the scale, but something tipped the scale, and now I have a room full of board games. So.
Yeah, I don't really know. I think like when I was kind of in college, I transferred schools, and then I was kind of on my own for a bit, and so I didn't really have too many people to play with, and so I had kind of a small collection. And then as I started to find more, make more friends and play more, I started to build up my collection more. I
think that's what it was. Like you find, you like that too? All right, let's get it. And the next thing you know,
exactly.
I'm right there with you. But I hear you mention Star Wars a lot, so I can tell that you're a fellow Star Wars fan. I should have wore a different shirt.
I am a Star Wars fan. Yeah, I maybe not so fond of some of the more recent material, although The Mandalorian was pretty awesome.
The Mandalorian was. I agree with you completely.
Yeah. Yep.
That's awesome.
So as far as my gaming world, that's kind of been the progression. And then so lately it's like I kind of at a certain point where I was like, I can't keep on buying. Like I need to keep this kind of manageable, because otherwise I'm not gonna. There's gonna be so many games I'm just not gonna play.
Trust me, I understand.
And so
this is only one of the shelves. They're all over the place in here. Yeah. Yeah, so we had like a couple of those cube shelves, whatever they're called, for those Calyx.
And they're
we're keeping IKEA open.
Yeah. Exactly. And so I filled up a couple of those shelf units, and then I was like, okay, like it's not going to go beyond this. And so like if from that point on, whenever I bought one, I would sell one or something that. I would kind of try and buy and sell. And
that is a great mantra to have. Like that, I should have followed your example. We didn't. We just went and bought more shelves. So this shelf's full.
Exactly.
We have to buy another.
Yeah, I mean whatever works for you.
It doesn't.
No. I mean it's. Yeah, I mean, like it's a double-edged sword, because it's like, it's if you get given enough time, you'll go back to eventually at some point. You'll go back to a lot of your games, but oftentimes you're just going to sit there and it's like maybe I'll just give that to someone else or who knows. But anyway,
but all those questions to ask you. So I built all that up to ask you. Did you ever see yourself as being I'm going to have a game that sits on somebody's shelf?
No, not at all. And it's funny now thinking back because I'm a civil engineer and I have like a pretty creative mind.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how to, obviously if I design this, that would make sense, but, like I just, like now that I've designed it, I'm kind of like this, like pretty much every step of the way that this is taken, like everything I've done, it has been something I've enjoyed doing. It hasn't been something where I'm like, I have an idea and everything else has kind of been torture, so so now that I've done it, I'm kind of like, oh, this makes total sense. Like this is definitely up my alley of something that I would enjoy and that I could do. But at the time when I was getting into it, like you said, I mean, like when you don't know like what games are what is possible with games, and you don't really know that, then you're like, why would you? That wouldn't even cross your mind, So
it's a whole new world that you are like. After you like as a kid, I did the same thing. I grew up with Monopoly and the Game of Life. Had a little Mall Madness and some Mousetrap, and that was about as outside the box as I got. And then like it's a whole other world. It's because you often have to tell people, no, it's not like Monopoly. It's another thing. But but now you have to reserve a space on your shelf from now on.
True. Well, I mean, it's so hard to it's a tough. I've been trying to figure this out. Like when you're trying to like convince people to get into the hobby, you're trying to like convince people to play a game. It's so hard because it's like there's such a perception of like, oh, like I hated Monopoly or I hated this game or I hate whatever. So you're like, play a board game with me, and they're like, crap, like.
It's and it's very like deer in the headlights. And like, I don't know. Yeah. You're holding up a box. Just grinning like an idiot. Yeah.
I spent a lot of time like with my collection trying to figure out those games that are like really, really low commitment that have cool themes where I can be like, hey, like play this cool game. It's only 20 minutes, whatever. And then get people hooked, of like, this is sweet,
Oh yeah.
So I've tried to kind of fill my collection with a lot of those kind of types of games. So,
but now you totally see like you've made a game that can do that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's been an interesting, I had no idea this was going to be something I would do. And then, I just had the idea and then ran with it. So
that's awesome. But, now, after this one, like now I know we're not through with the Kickstarter yet. So like we were talking kind of before we went live, you went live with the Kickstarter. It funded in 48 hours. So you could kind of go take a deep breath.
Yep.
Now, so do you think that you'll ever do you think you'll do another game at some point?
Yeah. So one thing I've realized with this is that because the market has gotten so saturated, which is a good thing in a lot of ways, but it's also it's also hard because it's hard to get noticed as a small time designer publisher. So it's definitely kind of like I kind of expected it to be kind of like a slow start of like, it'll probably be successful, but it probably won't blow anything out of the water. But there was always kind of a glimmer of hope of like, oh, maybe it'll be like it'll hit a chord and everyone will love it, you know, sort of thing. But I'm just realizing now that it's just going to be like I'm tasting the success of that of people saying, hey, I want to play this, but then also realizing, okay, it's going to be definitely a lot of continuing work of just kind of like of creating content and getting involved in the community and and if I want to continue doing this, just kind of putting in the time, putting in the work, and while I do love it, it still is work, and
totally.
But I do have other ideas, and definitely I've caught the bug somewhat.
That's what I was wondering. Did you get that designer that designer bug?
Yeah, after designing this one, it definitely you start to kind of like view things from a different perspective. Like like I'll play games, have ideas, and or just random stuff. I'll be just like living life, looking out the window or something, and see like, oh, like I could do that. I don't know.
I always find I think a designer's mind is very like it's very interesting to me because that's not how my brain does not work in a way that I think could ever design. But I always find it interesting talking to designers because it's such a neat process that you guys go through to bring a game. I have an idea. Maybe it's from another game that I played, or maybe it's from looking out a window and I saw something. I mean, we got games about birds, we got games about butterflies, we got all kinds of stuff. So to me, that's so cool that like you guys can connect those dots in your brain and then have this final product that people get to enjoy afterwards. Like that's just it's fascinating to me.
still surreal for me because it's not like, obviously it hasn't, like, we haven't gotten to the point yet where we've gotten to manufacturing, but now that it's funded, it's definitely going to be a reality. So there's kind of a whole like double-edged sword of that, of like, oh, this is going to be a reality, but it's also like going to be a lot of work to kind of to get everything manufactured and shipped and continue whatever.
Sure.
But yeah, it's weird to think that I followed through and made this thing, like,
I think that's amazing.
It's been an interesting process. Definitely a lot of learning. So.
Oh, sure, yeah. Now, with you guys being funded, so what's what are the stretch goals that you're kind of excited about and hope that you
the next stretch goal. So a lot of the stretch goals that we had in mind, that we've already funded 2 of them, and then we have more kind of down the road that are just kind of like more varied kind of goal cards to add to the game, just to kind of add more variability. The next stretch goal actually that's coming up at $5,000 is going to be custom goal cards, so you could like write your own if you wanted to. Oh,
nice! That's cool.
And so there might be. I was just kind of thinking the other day about how I might need to like kind of give some guidelines for those because I guess you can do whatever you want. They're custom, but like I just didn't want to. Like I don't want people to have a bad experience. Exactly. Like what I was realizing with playtesting those goal cards is it's actually very interesting how you can't just like pick any category, because if you pick some categories that are too broad, then it kind of makes it way too easy. And if you pick some categories that are too tight, then it's also kind of like too hard to make it. So you kind of have to like find categories that include a good variety of things but aren't too like crazy. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, I know what you mean. Like, the one you held up earlier, animal, to me that's broad enough but specific enough that there's a lot, but it's a lot of different word options. So it's still, I can find something in there, but it's not so out there. Like if you would say, like, I feel like you could have made that bigger, like, and it could have been way worse.
Exactly. And then there's been a few in here that that we've tested and have just not worked. Like, for example, I had a movie title in here at one point.
Oh, okay.
And what's weird about that is like, not only is it broad, but like a lot of movie titles are not one word, and all these have to be like one word, so that was a whole other design thing. I'm getting off on a tangent, but Oh,
you're fine.
Yeah, so custom goal cards, is the next stretch goal, and then further down the line, if we can hit 15,000, which is kind of a lofty goal at this point, but it's still possible.
Oh yeah.
We'll be able to actually switch our manufacturer and go with a higher bulk order and be able to upgrade some of our components and add a box insert and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's cool.
So it's relatively simple, but we just gotta have a few little additions and things that can be added and upgraded.
But like from what I saw, like even when you held the box up, like this seems to be a very transportable game. This is going to be easy for you to take somewhere, to throw in a bag, take it on vacation, take it to your family's house, take it to a friend's house, when we can do that kind of stuff. When we don't have a gatekeeper anymore, But
yes, yeah. But go out to the definitely. Also being a card game, like you can literally just set up on any surface, go find a picnic table and play it, whatever. Like it's, and that also partially went to the design. I was like, it'd be cool to be able to, for my first game, to design something that's just, easy to manufacture, easy to set up, easy to transport, Well,
it's a good selling point too, though. I mean, to me, it makes it more approachable if it's, I can't pack Gloomhaven around places with me. Not very often. But this, like, we always enjoy games that are very quick and easy to grab. And it seems like when I go to a friend's house who maybe is not as much of a gamer, they are way more intrigued by a small box, like something that's smaller that I put out on the table, than if I pull, even if it's a simple game. If it's a big box and I pull it out of our little bag, they're already kind of scared of it.
Yeah. It's interesting how psychologically that happened. I mean, I guess it makes sense. I mean, like if you have a big box, there's going to be a lot of stuff in there, which probably means
that has to be confusing. So. Like, but it's not. It's really, it's great. It's fun. And you hold it smiling like an idiot, like I said earlier. Please play with me.
There's definitely a few games out there that are guilty of that, but aren't not bad games. Just I know what you're saying.
Yep. Now you guys still have 18 days more to go, so you still have plenty of time to hit some more of those stretch goals.
Yes, yes, still moving along. Don't really know. Trying to think. Yeah, we're at about, I think, 4,700 right now. I checked it this morning, but I forget. Yeah, somewhere around that number. And yeah, like I said, we're trying to. Our biggest stretch goal is 15,000. So, and it'd be awesome to hit that. But like I said, yeah, we're funded and we're moving forward. We've had a lot of support so far. So things are a go right now.
Yep, that's great. Well, and it seems like good. it's a great price point to get into. So
yeah.
And what are you guys looking to deliver? I know I read that earlier, but.
Yeah. Okay. So
I know there's a lot of caveats to that.
Exactly.
So I'm not going to hold you to anything.
So I actually tried to kind of be conservative, and I said February because I was like, that's going to give us a good amount of time. But based on the information that I've gotten, I've tried to do research and I've tried to ask, like, hey, even with the stuff going on, are we going to be able to deliver sooner? And so it seems like I'd be able to deliver by the holidays, like by around December, but no guarantees there. So. Yeah, I mean, given the simplicity, like I said, it's only a card game. Yep. It's not too complex of a game to manufacture, so hopefully we can do it quicker.
That's awesome. Yeah, I was going to say, and I totally get it. Like everybody's experience, whether it's a delay with the shipper given stuff, or sometimes it's they're ready but we can't get them out. So by all means, don't think I'm not trying to put you on the spot with anything.
No, for sure. Yeah, and we'll definitely. I mean, there'll be a few little things kind of right when the campaign ends. I'll have to do some graphical things because I have some not some stretch goals, but some reward levels that included like adding people's names to the box in the rule book.
Cool.
The added goal cards. I'll have to kind of add those to the manufacturer, the whatever you want to call it, like the design. Hopefully we can kind of get that turned around quickly.
Cool. Now, if you do like with those specific the cards that I can create myself, is it just going to be like I write on it once and that's the thing forever? Is it going to be like dry erase or?
Oh, that's a good. Oh man, that would have been a good idea. I guess technically I could have ordered them as dry erase. I don't know how much more expensive that would be to
that's the thing. I don't know what it would be for me.
Yeah. Unfortunately, they're just going to be like you just kind of can write. Like you have a fun.
Still,
category,
I think that's awesome.
Write them on there or something, or just do something that's like an inside joke in your family or something.
Oh yes, yes.
That's
honestly the most in a game like that or anything. Anytime that you can do something that is specific to your game group or your family.
Oh yeah.
Hit every single time because we have a couple of that. And I'm laughing because I'm like, yep, I know of a couple of those that we do. I mean, and it's like I said, it's $29 to get into the game, so I think that's a great starting point for you to get your hands on. Like I said, super approachable game, and you guys, this Kickstarter page is excellent, so you guys should check it out. It shows, like you said, you can learn this game very quickly. You can learn this game just checking out their Kickstarter page.
Yeah.
Like I read through it and I went, okay, I totally get how to play, and that's awesome because I mean, now you're like, sweet, I can go and I can play, and it's on the table. I'm not reading through a rule book for 45 minutes or trying to find a how to play video online because that seems to be, some games that are just. And then you're like, well, I guess now I'm tired. I guess I'll play it tomorrow. So this is I'm excited for you because this is such a fun game to get straight to the table, and it seems so approachable by a lot of people. Thank
you. Yeah. No, we're excited, and I mean about like you said, it's not too hard to explain. You can kind of get the idea from reading the page. We're planning on trying to kind of take some of those kind of GIFs and some of the video clips that I've kind of created and compiling them into kind of a concise, short, maybe how to play type video and put it on YouTube or something like that. We haven't created that yet, but that's on the list of things to do once we have the time, or like once the game starts to kind of get into people's hands, they can click on that, watch it, something like that. So
and it just depends on what kind of learner you are. I have learned that from.
True.
Like you watch, even if it's a 10-minute explanation, there are some people that you just can't.
Yeah.
Like you got to show me instead of tell me, or show me when we get there. And
yeah. And I found too, like this game for how simple it is to initially learn. There's a couple little kind of just like nuances, like I was talking about with the play action and like playing in similar colors and stuff like that. Some of the rules with there, where it does take a little bit to kind of click of like understanding like, okay, I can only play this, but then I can only score. I only have this, sort of thing. So I definitely have experienced that. But once you get into it, definitely after a game, you'll kind of be like, okay, like this all makes sense. But that's how a lot of games are, though. First game's typically a learning game anyway.
Oh, totally. Well, and I feel like with this one though, like it's one that you're gonna continue. It's not one of those games that I played once and okay, I got it, I experienced it, and that's it. There's so many things that change throughout this, with it being a card game, and how the setup is, and having the color matching. That even, and I'm never gonna. It's not like I'm gonna be able to make the same words every single game. Maybe if they're my go-to easy words, but so that,
depending on how the deck is shuffled, depending on how categories are shuffled, it's literally a different game every time. And then also with the people you're playing with, like trading is always different. So a lot of variability here.
Yeah, and that's cool. And to me, that's more of a reason to pick it up, because you're gonna have it's not going to be the same experience. You're going to have a fun experience. Yeah. It's going to be a little bit different every single time that you play it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And I feel like there are games that that's not the experience that you have. Like, it's okay. Yeah. You know what you're going to get every time you get into it. I think this one. Yeah. I think that's enough that you're like, oh, it's good. I don't know how it's going to go.
Yeah. Yeah. It's always good to have some variety. Like, you don't want to go too far, I guess, to that. If you like, because I've seen some games where there's almost too much variety, and it's like, oh, like, what do I do? Like, what are the choices I have to make? But I think we strike a good balance of having a pretty much infinitely variable setup of a game, and then but the gameplay feels relatively similar every time. So once you know the rules, you're good to go.
That's awesome.
But yeah.
So is there anything, I'm trying to think, I don't want to miss any other details that maybe we haven't talked about. So, because I'm a little, I can chat all night because I'm a little chatty Cathy, but is there anything we haven't touched on that you want to make sure people know about you or about the game before we sign off?
Yeah, I think we've covered a lot of the bases. I guess one other thing I'll note is that we added some nice player reference cards to the game. When you're playing, what's kind of cool is you'll be able to just kind of like easily, pretty much everything you need to know once you start the game are on these cards. So you can kind of be like, oh, what do I do on a turn? Oh, it's listed right here. 1, 2, 3, 4. You know, like, how do I score a word? There it is, right there.
Those are nice. Those are so helpful.
And then when I'm scoring a word, these are the steps you follow. And then one thing that I thought was going to be important is, so I guess this is something that would be good. Yeah. So the deck is distributed based approximately, I mean, we've play tested it and tweaked it and whatnot, but approximately it's based on like the actual kind of makeup of the English language, as far as like the rarity of letters and whatnot. Okay. And so on one of the reference cards, I actually have a letter distribution. I don't know
that's brilliant. Yeah.
And so you can see on the left here, it shows you how many of each letter is in the deck total. And then on the right, you actually can see how many of each color. So if you need like an E, you can be like, oh, these are my odds of getting an E. If I need specifically a blue, N, then this is how many are going to be in the deck. And this is how where are my odds of getting that.
That's very helpful.
That can be very helpful when you're spelling words and you're like, what do I need here? Is this worth me holding out for or whatnot? So that's one thing to note. And then
that's nice. I like those.
Yeah. And then I think, obviously you can kind of see in some of the graphics and whatnot, but like the makeup of the cards is kind of like, so I have there's multi-lettered or multicolored cards. So for example, the B that's upside down is, red, green, blue. And then a lot of the cards are also double color. So yellow, blue. And then all the cards that are single color actually have 2 letters on them, so you can rotate them.
Okay.
So and then when these are on the table, you can be rearranging those within a word at any time. So you can kind of start a word and then finish it and be like, oh, maybe I actually want to spell something different here.
Oh, nice.
So maybe that was already implied. I don't know, but I just thought I'd mention that.
No, I'm glad that you did.
Yeah. So that adds a lot of interesting variability to when you're spelling your words on the table. It kind of allows you some flexibility to, let's say you start spelling a green word, but maybe you'd use this card for your greens, and all of a sudden you're like, I got a bunch of reds. Let me just start spelling with reds now. But this also counts as a red, so you're good to go. Yeah. So it kind of gives you some flexibility there.
Well, yeah, and I'm thinking too, if somebody across the table from you now is also you're seeing the green letters that you need. There's always somebody sitting across, just taking everything that you need. And so that's cool, because then at least I'm not told, because normally you're like, well, but I'm never going to get what I need because they're collecting it too.
Yes.
So that's nice.
Exactly. And so it adds some interesting dynamics, not only in the scoring, but also in the playing of when you're playing cards, because it's I need to play blues, or I want to play this blue card, but it also has the color red on it. And I also want to play this other red card. So let me just play reds and I can use this as a blue. anyway,
Yeah.
so yeah, you can get kind of the strategy can kind of get a little interesting with those different multicolored cards, and just add some more variability to
That's
it. So.
cool. And like I said, I feel like it just opens up. The more you play it, the more you're going to start connecting some of that.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly.
That's cool.
Yeah. But
I can see this being quite a hardcore game. Like with your family stuff, you play tested it enough. You guys are around the table. You guys are having a whole different. Like you're having a hardcore game with this one sometimes.
Yeah. Well, it's a good sign when when I was play testing it initially, I was coming home on the weekends and whatnot, and my family would be be requesting to play before I had a chance to say anything. That's awesome. A good sign that people were enjoying it enough to. Yeah. Obviously, there's some bias there, but I think I have some pretty hardcore gamer family members, and so I don't think they would lie to me about that. So I would hope they're. Yeah. I think they like it. So.
Yeah, I will say I'm super bummed you didn't get a chance to demo this at a live convention because I could. Just the colors and stuff I think pop enough that it would immediately grab somebody's attention walking past the booth.
I definitely it would have been nice to be able to do. I wish I could have gotten also a virtual thing up for it too, and they're still not ruling it out, but it would have been nice to. There was a lot of complexities when I was trying. I started doing it, and I was having some issues getting it going, and then obviously with all the COVID stuff, none of the conventions were going, and so it is what it is. But
it's a bummer. Like any of them. There's so many great games that we didn't. It's just a different experience when you can see them in that setting.
Yeah. Yeah, but like you said, we're funded and people are liking it. So
I'm very excited for you. Well, hopefully we can help send some more people your way that can discover this game.
Yeah.
Because again, I think this one it really seems like a lot of fun. It's going to be so approachable for so many different people, and I always think that's just a great game to have in your collection.
Yeah. No, we hope so. Yeah, come check us out.
Absolutely.
I think you'll like it.
Cool. Now, is there anywhere else in the social media world that they can find anything on this besides Kickstarter?
Yeah. So I have a page on Facebook just called Word Swap.
Okay.
I can send links, and you can send those or put them on the description or something like that too. So it's called Word Swap. I think there's another page called Word Swap. It might be there might be a hyphen in there or something. Anyway, I don't. Yeah, it's Word Swap on Facebook, and then
cool.
Yeah, and then on Instagram, I have a page just called 4FI Games, which is just my self-publishing company. So 4FI Games.
Cool. We need to watch that one
also
when he starts making his next game.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly. I had thrown a prototype really crudely together a couple months ago for something else that I had an idea for. I think I may have posted a photo or something, but I don't remember. Anyway, so those are the two probably main places where I'm most active. That may kind of change. I'm also on Twitter, but I don't really do a whole lot of board games stuff on there. But anyway, so
it's a whole other world on Twitter, man. Trust me.
Yeah, it's different.
Twitter's a whole other world. So, man,
Instagram has been pretty good.
Yeah,
so.
That one's super fun just because it is such a fun place.
Yes.
I like a lot of visual representation of stuff, and it's a great place to get in. So.
There's some really good photographers. Obviously just good content in general, but there's people that really go all out with the quality on there. So it's pretty cool.
Yes, I aspire to be like them, and I'm it's another one of those artistic things that I admire so much that you look at it and go, I can't. I can't do that. I'm not that talented. So, cool. Yeah. Well, everybody definitely. Yeah. Go check out Word Swap on Kickstarter. You still have 18 more days as of the date of this. We would love for you to get your hands on this game because I really think you guys are going to enjoy it. And good luck to you, Peter. And I hope we get to talk to you again soon about, your next adventure game.
I hope so too.
Cool.
Be great.
All right. Well, until next time, you guys, if you like what we're doing, make sure you follow us on social media so you see all the coolest, latest what's new episodes, unboxings, reviews, whatever kind of trouble we can get ourselves into. And until next time, rise up and roll some dice.